If you ask most RPG lovers, Super Mario RPG usually ranks quite high for most. Dropping way back in 1996 on the Super Nintendo, this adventure was made by the unlikely collaboration of Squaresoft and Nintendo. And while I made a number of attempts to play this game throughout my childhood, it never really hooked me beyond a solid 30 or so minutes of playing. But listening to the rampant demand over the last few decades, Nintendo has finally deemed it time to reintroduce the world to the delightfully charming Super Mario RPG. Like I said, this is a game that I never really got as a kid. I'm not a huge Nintendo person, but in my quest to give more of their first-party games a chance, I kept finding them worthwhile. Super Mario RPG is well within that range too. It's filled to the brim with charming moments, fun writing, and it's just a cozy blanket of simple RPG fun that hit just right for me. The story is definitely simple, but that doesn't make it bad. It begins with our hero trying to save Peach from Bowser as usual, before that's interrupted by a massive sword crashing into the castle. We find out that this sword is actually Smithy, a sentient sword who wants to take over. Mario and friends have to band together to meet this new threat. It's no Baldur's Gate 3, but it's a fun story nonetheless. Also, it's really refreshing to see some classic RPG towns. I can't really explain why it hit so well for me, but it's something about being in a town with just a few houses, shops to buy new gear, and an inn that feels great. No expansive hub world nonsense or fake town with only 2 buildings to enter, but a legit small town in all of its glory. You love to see it. What really makes this experience are the characters. All of them have really fun personalities and the writing constantly hits. Mallow's determination to stop being a crybaby, Gino's quest to save the stars, Bowser's silly attempts to look cool in front of Mario, they're all really fun personal traits. Even better is how succinct these are. In most modern RPGs, Mallow's attempts to not be a crybaby would be reinforced with every line, but here it's a point that's made quickly and kinda left at that. This is helped by really fun writing. Character personalities convey themselves really well here, and honestly it does a lot with a fairly short runtime. Everyone is quirky without being snippy or insufferable. A lot of the lines really got a chuckle out of me, to be honest. The world too is a pleasure to be in. Of course, it is Mario, so it's bright and colorful. The glow up on this remake really takes the game into a place that it's always deserved. Some areas are definitely more interesting than others, but I never got tired of running around, and even better, no single place overstayed its welcome. It's a great looking game in pretty much all regards. It does a lot with a very simple and classically restricted RPG style. It won't blow you away in most of the time, but that's not a bad thing either. Also, shout out to having old school style pre-rendered cutscenes for small things like character intros and the awesome team-up attacks. These are super nice looking, but honestly, I wish Nintendo was rocking more powerful hardware to make the entire game look like that. Gameplay and combat is once again simple, to the point that I almost considered it a down point until I kept playing. Moving around the map is as simple as it looks, with some of Mario's patented jumping. There are a few handful of instances where platforming is needed, but overall it's just a matter of looking around and gathering the items and moving along. Also in the world are the enemies. Once you touch one, the game shifts into the typical RPG turn-based combat of old. As a fan of this combat still to this day, I was well in my comfort zone. Once again though, that feeling of simplicity arrived. It's a pretty no-frills combat system. Attack, items, special moves, they're all here as expected. There is an added layer with the timing, however. You can cause extra damage or effects by timing button presses or rotating the stick. It's a nice added layer, and the various attacks have different timing to get used to. If you're looking for more complex systems or something that rewards out-of-the-box thinking, this isn't going to be it. Tie this up with the fact that the game is so short that there's not a lot of moves and attacks to learn across the cast, it could be a clear negative for some looking for a more beefy experience. Another thing to note is the enemies in the world. There's plenty of them to bash and power level on, but honestly, it started to grate on me when I tried to go for all of them in an area. After a while, I began skipping a few of them to make the game a bit more brisk and ultimately more fun, but the option to grind on them is pretty nice to have. There's also tons of classic Squaresoft-style RPG minigames to enjoy. From racing minecarts to timing jumps, the variety of them and where they appear is a nice cap to the experience. Super Mario RPG is a charming romp that doesn't miss any of its Super Nintendo era beats. The new coat of paint does wonders for bringing the world and characters to life in all of its vibrant glory. Toss in some fun writing and we got ourselves a must-play for fans of the genre or character. The simple combat and story, however, might not scratch that itch for those looking for a truly beefy or deep RPG experience. Mario's not going to ponder the meaning of human existence during his quest, and similarly, the combat isn't going to introduce new elements of strategy that you've never seen before. But still, this adventure is an enjoyable and fun one. Even at only 12 to 13 hours for a first playthrough, I gotta give Super Mario RPG about an 8 out of 10. For fans who've been waiting for this game for so many years, it's obviously worth grabbing. For those who are new to the adventure like me, go in with a few tempered expectations for complexity and game length, and just let it wash over you. I'm willing to bet you'll have just as much fun with it as I did. But that's gonna do it for this review. Let me know what you think about this game and this video down below. Be sure to like, sub, hit the bell, and all of that good stuff. It lets YouTube know that this content I'm making and lets me know that this content I'm making is worthwhile and that you're enjoying it, and I hope to see you on the next one. Have an excellent day or evening.